Hello, my lovable friends. I hope you are doing great. In today's class, we're gonna cover something very fundamental and yet important. Because of the fact that you are preparing for IELTS test, you are just under a lot of pressure, you face a lot of struggles, and you've got a lot on your plate, to be honest with you. While you are preparing on the first phase, we do not recommend timing yourself. Because firstly, you wanted to feel that much confident, you wanted to be relaxed. And as far as you just get into the real work and you get familiar with the type of writing and you understand about the process and everything relates to that, you have to start paying attention to the time as well, because everything is bound to time. You need to take care of time management as well, because even if you are really good at writing, but you cannot fulfill the task within the limited amount of time that is given, you fail to get the score that you are in need of. Imagine that you cannot complete the task, and if it is the case, you cannot expect a higher score more than, something like 6 at the very, very, very good, let's say, perspective. So in today's class, we're going to talk about the way with the help of which you can manage your time really wisely and closely. But before getting into that, I would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please smash that like button, because that way YouTube will understand that what I'm just producing is quite unique and beneficial to the audience, and it will start showing my content to a greater number of people, so that I will be motivated to produce more content related videos like this. So thank you, and let's get into that. So how to manage your time in task 2 writing. Time management is difficult but important in writing exam, because you need to do that. You have to. It is quite easy to spend too long on a task or even on one part of a single piece of writing, because as you know, there are 2 tasks that have to be fulfilled. If you fail to manage your time wisely, you cannot fulfill both tasks completely before the time limit. This certainly will lead to having serious consequence. This prevents you from finishing both task 2 and task 1 of your writing within 60 minutes. So that is really fundamental. The best way to avoid this is to divide your time wisely and strictly as following. So the first 10 minutes would be related to planning stage, because that is really important. Firstly, when you take a look at the question, you should understand what exactly the question is asking you about, because there are a lot of times that I read different kinds of writings and I see that the question hasn't been fulfilled completely, because it is clear that the candidate was really under a lot of pressure, and as far as they saw the question, they started writing. That is a very huge mistake. Please avoid that. So the first 10 minutes should be divided into different kinds of steps for your planning stage. The first item that we should be looking for is reading the question, because as I told you, it is very important to understand and decode all the elements of the question, because it's very easy to get far from the elements of the question. And guess what? If you fail to fulfill the question completely, your task achievement score will suffer to a great extent. The next activity would be about deciding your overall opinion. Your position, your opinion has to be clearly stated throughout the whole essay if you are intended to get a high band score. So remember, this is very important, not only in your introduction, but also within your body paragraphs and of course your conclusion part. Your position has to be clearly mentioned. And the last item in this phase is noting down ideas, both arguments and evidence. So you need to just have those kind of keywords for your body paragraphs. For example, you say, I agree, I disagree because of these reasons. Of course, when it comes to planning stage, you wouldn't go for the complete sentence. Instead, you would rather go for some phrases or keywords in order to be guided throughout the whole essay. The next item would be writing stage, okay, which takes something like 30 minutes. Take a look at the stages which are dealing with in this phase. Writing the introduction, which takes something like 5 minutes of your time. The next one would be writing the first body paragraph, which will take something like 10 minutes, and the next 10 minutes would be related to the next body paragraphs. And the last item in this category would be your conclusion, which will take something like 5 minutes. So as you see, 30 minutes will be spent on the whole writing stage. And remember that most cases for paragraphs would be enough, and they will do. You do not need to write something like 6 body paragraphs, not at all. And the next item, and the next, let's say the next stage would be the checking stage. I cannot insist on these and the importance of this phase because it is really important. I see that a lot of candidates pay attention to the other part, but when it comes to the check-in stage, as far as they think everything is done or they haven't allocated that amount of time for this stage, this actually will lead to their ignorance. And guess what? If you have forgotten to do that, if you haven't checked your work, you will have a lot of stupid mistakes that you yourself could correct them at the first glance. Before having your paper delivered to the examiner or invigilator, you've got that kind of potential to correct your mistakes. Imagine something like, S, that kind of plural noun or the singular verb, or a lot of, punctuation mistakes would be avoided if you really take it into consideration. I'm just telling you that it will make a huge difference. Maybe your score from 5 can really and rapidly change to a 6, or your 6 can change and transform to a 7, just with this very important stage. Read through your writing, look for mistakes and correct them. It might seem odd if you spend so long preparing at the beginning. Instead, you should spend only 25 minutes or so writing your essay. But remember, the most important stage is actually the amount of time you're going to spend on planning before writing your essay. So when you are planning your writing, you know what to do. And when you start putting that pen on paper, you know exactly what kind of stages, what kind of procedure has to be taken in order to have your work done. So everything is planned, and you know that kind of roadmap. Otherwise, you will fail to do so, and you will face a lot of confusion throughout the whole process and journey. If you use this time wisely to generate plenty of good ideas, you will be able to write a good essay quickly. In contrast, if you start writing too early, it means that if you haven't specified that amount of time for your preparation and planning, there is a possibility that you will misunderstand the question. And a lot of students think that it is not that much probable, but you will be amazed and surprised by the number of students that make that kind of mistake because they are stressed, they are anxious, and they just start writing. And at the end, when I read those writings, I see that, okay, they are not even answering to the question, even completely or partially. Organize your information badly, fill your essay poorly, or run out of ideas. Any of these things will definitely result in a low band score. Remember that if you follow the things above, you only need to write at a speed of 10 words per minute. That is a very logical and rational, speed to reach the minimum word count. Okay, I hope this video will bring you lots of values, and if it is so, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel in order to support me and what I'm doing. Thank you for your attention, and see you later. Bye-bye.